my Montessori friends. Welcome to Miss Lynn's Story Corner. I've been noticing some changes outside my window, have you? Maybe some yellowy green, maybe some yellow, maybe some pinks. I brought something in to show you. I have these outside my window these days. See that? Aren't they beautiful? These are daffodils. Maybe you have some too outside your window near your house, either in your own garden or somebody else's garden in your neighborhood. This yellow color makes me think of the sunshine. Last week was the first day of spring, and I started thinking about flowers in the spring. So I brought in one of my favorite books to share with you. Not about yellow daffodils, but a different kind of flower. I brought to you Miss Rumphius by Barbara Cooney. This is one of my favorite books. In fact, we have read several of these books until they've fallen apart at my house. This is one of our newer copies because we've had to put the old ones away and get out a fresh new one so that we can keep reading without the pages falling out. Barbara Cooney, she is the author and the illustrator. That meant she wrote the words and she drew the pictures for this story. What a fun job that would be. You could make your own books, drawing your own pictures for your own stories. Let's read Miss Rumphius. Now there's a lot more words in this one. What I'd like to do is read the words while I look at the book and then hold the pictures up to show you after I read the words. So while I'm reading the words, see if you can make pictures in your mind of what I'm reading. And then I will show you the picture when it's about time to turn the page. All right, so let's get started. Put on my spectacles to read with. There we go. Miss Rumphius, Story and Pictures by Barbara Cooney. Miss Rumphius, and here are the flowers that I was telling you about. These are lupin, not tall yellow daffodils, but tall pink and purple and blue flowers. And look at their leaves. On a long stem from the center point, shoot out the leaves all around that middle. All right, let's read about Miss Rumphius. The Lupin lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks and around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin lady is little and old, but she's not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. From her front steps, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. So here is the little girl who's telling us about her aunt. And here is her aunt long ago when she was a little girl too. From the front steps, she can see these bristling, tall masts of ships down in the harbor. Here's some ships sailing away. This ship doesn't need a sail, has steam coming out of it. And that is her city that she lives in by the sea with her grandfather who had come to America on a sailing ship long ago. But now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. So here is what is on the prow of the ship. Now this is a carving right there, if you can see. And this is the front of the ship called the prow. And somebody has done a carving of a person and put it right there on the front. And then over here is the shop with a carving of a statue of a Native American right there. Okay, but on this page it shows the grandfather in his shop. It's a special kind of shop. It's a studio where artists do their work. And you can see these are some more carvings for the front of ships. They kind of lean forward because they'll be leaning forward across the water over the water from the front of the ship. And here is the grandfather. It must be very busy because Alice is helping him paint in the skies. And here is his studio. These are some more statues for outside the shop. And this right here in the middle is a wood stove to keep that shop nice and warm. It's like a good place to go to work every day. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places. And when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "Oh, all that is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "Oh, what is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "Oh, all right," said Alice, but she didn't know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate her hot cereal for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and after a while of doing those things, pretty soon she was all grown up. Here she is, though, sitting on her grandfather's lap, listening to his stories of faraway places. And there's grandmother in the next room working on something. She's probably listening to the stories, though, too. And this is a lamp. And there's the cat by the fire. These must be some of the faraway places he's gone to. And here is a ship sailing to some of those places. So pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great Aunt Alice set out to do the three things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and she went to live in another city, far from the sea and salt air. And there she worked in a library, dusting the books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. And here is Miss Rumphius, all grown up. Alice is now Miss Rumphius, and she's working in this library. This is a card catalog. You look up the book you might want, then you go up here to the shelves and find where it is on the shelves. If you can't find them on the shelves, there's Miss Rumphius to help you. She's helping this boy here. These children are enjoying books. Oh, somebody brought their dog to the library? Oh, this man's enjoying the newspaper. What a fun place that would be to go to work every day. And here's Miss Rumphius walking home from the library, the stack of books. How would you choose if you worked in the library? All those books. A lot of stories to read in the library. So people called her Miss Rumphius now, and sometimes she went to the conservatory, which is a great big glass house full of plants. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine flowers filled her nose. "Oh, this is almost like a tropical island," said Miss Rumphius. "But not quite." Here she is, walking through the snow to the green house, which is the glass house full of plants. It's not green, it's made out of glass, but they call it a greenhouse because things that are green can grow in it. And look at this, it's wintry out, but inside it's so warm that there's lemon trees and palm trees and all kinds of flowers, even on a wintry day. But since it wasn't quite like a tropical island, Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. Cockatoos are like parrots. She walked on long beaches picking up beautiful shells. One day she met the Baba Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be very tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Baba Raja's wife. The Baba Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water that was inside. Before she left, the Baba Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he'd painted a flower called Bird of Paradise and these words, "You will always remain in my heart." "Oh, well, you will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. Here she is, talking to the Baba Raja, king of the fishing village. And these are the children with some of their pets. A monkey, another monkey. Oh, there's the cockatoo. Look at the house they live in. It has a grass roof, and it stands up on legs right in the sand. And you climb up the ladder. Maybe sometimes the waves wash under the house. I don't know. But it's warm there, so you can always have the doors and windows open. And look at the palm trees right beside the house. There's the king giving her the shell. Over on this page, you can see the house right there with its legs standing on the sand by the palm trees. And she, with her umbrella to keep the sun off the top of her head and keep her from getting a sunburn, is walking with the children along the beach, picking up shells. My great-aunt Miss Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping. And everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, oh! She hurt her back. "What a foolish thing for me to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I certainly have seen faraway places. Maybe it's time to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. So here she is being very adventurous in other lands, climbing mountains and seeing faraway places of all kinds. And here she is in what she called the land of the lotus eaters. Not sure where that could be. Maybe it's in North Africa. It's in a very warm place. And there she is on a camel. And that is how she hurt her back. Well, from the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water. And she saw it set in glory in the evenings. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there's still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." "But what? The world is already pretty nice," she thought. And she looked out over the ocean. Here is the house she lives in now. She's living by the sea just like she wanted to. She's seen faraway places. Now she's trying to think, what could she do to make the world more beautiful? The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupin," Miss Rumphius said with satisfaction. "I have always loved lupin the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could have still more flowers next year." But she was not able to. Why wasn't she able to? Her back. Her back was bothering her so much that here she is staying in bed. But while she's in bed, she can look out the window at the flowers, the same way I've looked out the window at the daffodils. And here she's looking out at them, and thinking how beautiful they are while she's laying in bed with her sore back. She has her books beside her to read and a cat to keep her company. But winter comes. She wasn't able to get out and plant any more seeds before the weather changed. And now it's dark and cold out, no flowers growing. After a hard winter came, Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon she started to go up and over the hill where she'd not been in a long time. And there, I don't believe my eyes, she cried when she got to the top of the hill, for there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupin. Oh, it was the wind, she said as she knelt in delight. It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden over here, and the birds must have helped. And then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. Here is the picture of her looking at the lupins. It's the same one that's on the cover of the book. Did you notice? There's her house, and she'd gone up over the hill, and there are some of these lupin that had come all the way from her house because of the wind and the birds. She didn't need to plant the seeds. The seeds got planted by the wind and the birds. That's the way nature plants seeds sometimes. Miss Rumphius hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupin seed. That's a lot. She must be planting a big garden. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, with her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands sowing lupin. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and in back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along the stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her now any more at all, but some people called her that crazy old lady. Why do you think they called her that? Maybe they saw her going like this, but the seeds were so little they couldn't see them, so they didn't know she was planting seeds? I don't know. Let's see. Here she is, ordering the seeds on a winter day, getting ready for being able to plant them in the spring. Here she is walking along the roads, throwing seeds here and there, tossing them along the walls and behind the school and behind the church. And right here, somebody else is planting a garden. That is a vegetable garden. Different kind of garden. The next spring there were lupin everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches of them lay around the schoolhouse and in back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third, the most difficult thing of all. Remember what that was? Yes. She found a way to make the world more beautiful. An already pretty wonderful world, a little bit better even. That makes me wonder, what would I choose to do to make the world a little bit better? I'd have to think for a while like Miss Rumphius did. Maybe you could think of a way. My great Aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupin. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupin. When she invites us in, they come very slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. Oh, well, that is very well, little Alice, says my aunt. But there is a third thing you must do. What's that? I asked. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. There are the friends waiting by the gate to see who they think is the oldest woman in the world. And there is Miss Rumphius. She is telling stories now of faraway places she's been to and seen. Look, she has a cockatoo for a pet. And these are the ships and the faraway places that her grandfather had on his walls. And all the children are listening to her stories. Oh, she has a bunch of books right there, too. She kind of has a story corner, doesn't she? So she's told her granddaughter or her niece that she must make the world more beautiful. And the little girl says, all right, but I don't know yet what that could be. And here is the beautiful world of lupin flowers everywhere. And all the children are gathering them from the roadsides. Every year they get planted more and more by the wind and the birds. And there is Miss Rumphius in her house, looking out at the children. She see her standing there at the doorway. She's looking out at everybody, enjoying the flowers she planted. I love that story. And now I was thinking we could go over to the art table I have here. And we could do some pictures of some flowers, some lupin. So I'll show you what I brought. Now I'm going to try this. I have to move my camera over. Let's see how it works. I'm going to move my chair first. And I'll put the book away so it doesn't get anything splattered on it. And these daffodils have been sitting here while we've been reading the story. I'm going to leave them on the art table. I'm just going to push them a little to the side to make room for the camera. So now let's see. If I move you over here to the camera, let's see how this works. This is the art table. And as you see on my art table, I have some things all ready to do an art project with. Maybe you'd like to do this art project too. To do the art project, you need a piece of plain white paper and then maybe a paintbrush. Or if you don't have a paintbrush, a Q-tip would work. And I have some paint. Now, if you don't have paint, crayons or felt markers would work too. So I think I will turn my paper the long way. Because flowers, the lupin flowers I remember in the Miss Rumphius book, they were tall. And I decided I'm going to make lupin flowers. So I'm going to lay my paper long on the art table. And then I put some paint into little jars. And guess what colors I chose? Do you remember what color the lupins are? Blue, purple, and rose-colored paint. But I also brought green, because remember those leaves I showed you? I think I might want to make some of those too. I have a glass of water here, because this is what I'll clean my brushes off with. And I might choose a paintbrush here. I have quite a collection, as you see. I have all kinds of paintbrushes. Look at this one. This one is the tiniest, tiny. Can you see? It only has just very few bristles. I think I need a little bit bigger one than that. I have a great big one like this, but that's too big for what I think I want. I would like to find, turn around here and look. Well, I might try to start with having this one right here. I think I'm going to put some green paint and make some lines like this to be my stems. So I'll dip in little green paint on my paintbrush and do some long stems. I might curve some, a little bit more green paint, and some over like this. So you see now I have some stems like that. The next thing I'm going to do is maybe make some littler stems out like this, so I can put some leaves on there. Now they don't have to be like any flowers you've ever seen before. These could be your own imaginary flowers. You might invent a whole new kind of flower. But I'm going to try to make some leaves I saw coming out of the center. And the way I'm doing that is after I made some little marks along the stems, I'm going to pick a middle point. I'm going to go around and around with the tip of my brush just to make the leaves, kind of like the Lupin Lady's leaves. Or maybe that kind of looks like leaves. You can do your leaves any way you want. So this is how mine turned out. And now I would like to put some flowers, like some lupins on this page. So I'm going to wash off my brush. It's important to take care of your brush. So I'm going to give it a little bath like that. Now for this next part, I don't think I'll use a paintbrush. Instead, I think I might use a Q-tip, or I could use the tip of my finger, because I noticed that in the book of the Lupin Lady, the flowers, the lupin flowers, they come out like this, getting up. They get bigger down here, smallest up here, but I think I could do that with the tip of my finger. Okay, I could do some rose-colored ones, some blue ones, some purple ones. I'm going to give it a try. You go ahead and give it a try too. Let me see. I might use the tip of my finger. If you don't have Q-tips, you can just use the tip. And I'm going to go a little bit of rose-colored paint on my finger, and I'm going to go just like that. We were looking at the flowers in the book, and I'm thinking that I did a pretty good job of looking like Lupin. Now, one thing about art is art never has to look exactly like the thing really looks. It can be stylized. Stylized is an artist's word for an imaginary example. It's kind of like a special artist style. I just put a little bit of purple in with that blue. Let's see what that does. Oh, now I'm making some more lupin. You can go ahead and have a good time. You can make, I just thought of this, you can make a whole garden. And then you could even get a marking pen and draw some little birds. You can make, you know, what else is in a garden besides plants? There's dirt, birds, there's insects that help the plants. But this is a start, and it might make you think of how you want to do your lupin garden or flower garden or any kind of garden you would like. Well, thank you for joining me for Story Corner. And I'm going to put it all the way up over here. Thank you very much for joining me with Miss Lynn. I hope you come back and we can do this again on a different day, a different time. Happy painting your garden. I would love to see what you end up with. Bye, friends. Have a good rest of your day. And read a book. Bye-bye.